چنده هر کسی که تو خالی باشد بالاخره معلوم میشه.
Hello, پیمان and Sepehr again. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me after the interview with Maxime. That's my pleasure to have you guys here again. Say something and we'll begin. We'll jump into this Maxime, what he said, and we're going to share our comments.
Thanks for having me, Ehsan. It's very nice to be here.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, as you guys know, I had Maxime in my podcast 3 hours ago. So we talked about several topics that basically they were my questions. Also, پیمان gave me some of his questions that I asked at the end of my interview with him. My plan is to review those questions, and you guys add your comments. If you have any further comments, I'll be happy to hear them from your side. Okay?
It's a post-interview wrap-up.
Post-interview wrap-up, exactly. Hi, Max. Good to see you.
How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining my podcast. It's my pleasure to have you, Max. Good to see you again.
I'm very pleased to be with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Maxime Bernier, his pronouns is I told you so. My name is Ehsan. My pronouns is Max was right about everything. So, Max, before further ado, I want to talk about some of the. I know you don't have a lot of time, so I want to jump right in and ask you about one big question. So, what's this intentional national suicide of Canadians? Why they are doing national suicide about immigration, about climate change, about they do everything, this government, they do everything they could to destroy Canada. What is the bigger agenda here?
But the bigger agenda, it's all, transforming our society and trying to control a little bit more about what we are doing, we as Canadians. And as you said, they're doing that because they want to respect and being in line with the UN national agenda, the UN climate change agenda, the UN migration compact. And so these establishment politicians are very pleased to follow the UN. Like I said, the UN is not imposing anything on us. That's a dysfunctional and a globalist organization. But we here in Canada are adopting the philosophy and ideas coming from the UN by our own politicians. So that's why, these politicians want to look very good with the UN. And so that's why we have now here in Canada, as you know, a climate change policy, and the try is to reduce the green gas and the CO2. And as you know, and I know, CO2 is a gas essential for life. It is not a pollutant, and the climate is always changing and will always change. So that's why our position at the People's Party is to do nothing there. We are spending billions of dollars just to fight climate change, and we are in a recession in Canada instead of helping Canadians. And on immigration, like you said, it's the same. For me, I think it is immoral for a politician and a leader of a political party opening our borders like they're doing. For me, it's more important for them to take care of migrants than to take care of Canadians. And that's what they're doing with mass immigration. And we said, since the creation of the People's Party, that we must control the immigration. In the beginning, when we created the People's Party, we had a maximum of 150,000 migrants a year. And now, because of the mass immigration, our position is very clear. We need to stop that. We need to have a moratorium on immigration, and we need to start the deportation. But don't forget, there's about 65% of the population in the last survey who is saying enough is enough with mass immigration. And
That's right.
I'm always saying also that the conservatives and the liberals are doing politics by survey and by polling. They don't have any conviction. But you may think, Maxime, when you're saying that, knowing that 65% of the population is against mass immigration, how come they're not following that? How come they are okay with mass immigration and open borders? It's because I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
They're doing survey and polling by ridings. So for the conservative and the liberals, they want to know which riding they can win. And there's a lot of riding in the big GTA in Ottawa, in Toronto, sorry. There's more ridings there than in Alberta. So for them, they will do polling in these ridings, and the migrants are there, and they don't want to stop mass immigration. So that's why for them it's not important what the global population is thinking. It's how many riding they can win with a policy,
They want to bring in
and they will
voters.
run on that policy until they win.
So Max, let's just stop here. Like one thing that the first thing comes into my mind, like democracy has a lifespan. They found the loopholes, like how do you can bypass democracy. So first of all, there you build global organization like WEF, like something like Paris Accord, and then you don't talk about all these destructive policies, but you say, I have some commitments to WEF. Let's talk about it. Let's see how it goes. But these are the actual organization that they mandate their policies, the policies that people didn't vote for. So yeah, let's start with Payman. Payman, tell me about what do you think?
I was going to say beauty before age. Go ahead, Sepehr.
Okay.
No, I fully agree with what Maxime said. So yeah, it seems that politicians are beholden to these globalist bodies rather than their constituents. So yeah, the World Economic Forum, or the UN, Paris, the Paris Accord, and yeah, these aren't things that people voted for. And no matter which party you go to, I mean, the conservatives don't have a clear policy on anything, and the liberals seem to be just going with the globalist agenda. And we've reached a point where even the BC NDP, we're all BC people here, the BC NDP was saying, okay, that's enough with the temporary foreign worker program. When the NDP is telling you that's enough, then that you've really reached a problem here. Yeah. I mean, this is and everywhere you look, especially in BC, you see corruption at every level, and this is like, it can't keep on going on like this. I agree with what Maxime said in regards to the globalist agenda with mass immigration. Yeah, there needs to be a moratorium, and we do need to actually start deportations right now because it's getting out of hand. Our healthcare system is failing. We don't have an economy anymore. Like it's getting to a point where we might not be able to return from. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Fast forward to 51st state. That's what you're talking about.
I mean, I have no idea. This is not sustainable. What we're doing is not sustainable. People keep on voting, and no matter who they vote for, they just get the same thing.
That's right.
Péman, did you?
Yeah, I was gonna say Max is right. I mean, he started off. He said this is all coming from the UN. Everything else he said, you don't even have to listen to it. Like everything's coming from the UN. The question is, if you go to the average voter and you say that, they're going to think you're crazy. They still think that the UN is just these benevolent people with blue hats. You know, they're there to peacekeep. But you got all this like top-down garbage coming from either the UN or the people that run the UN. This whole globalist nonsense. And as Sepehr said, like, it's not sustainable, but there's no way out of it. So you have a system that's falling apart, and there's no political solution out of this. Like, you can't vote your way out of it, because even if you vote conservative, nothing's going to change. And I also don't know what the future Canada holds. And
just one more thing to add to that. People are waking up to this, and they're angry. I mean, like, Canadians, like heritage Canadians
finally,
generations here, they are angry. They are starting to get pissed off. And like, I don't know what kind of powder keg we're trying to create here, but it's not going to look good if we have any sort of internal conflict here, because we're not in a good economic position. We're not in any sort of position to have that either. And people are angry.
I think a little bit of pressure from Mr. Trump manifested all the weakness of the system in here. And this is like, look at this graph. Like the population growth and real GDP per worker. That's crazy, man. Like, one thing is going up exponentially, the other one is...
Can I make an observation? That's real GDP per worker. From the perspective of a politician, the population grows and the GDP also grows. So you can sort of say, oh, I increased the GDP by 4%. Meanwhile, the population grew by like 8%.
Yeah. We had very interesting points speaking with Max. Let's just...
That's a very good point. Is that safe to say there is some flaws with this current democracy, as we call it? So this democracy is becoming a circle that destroy, instead of like adding value, instead of like bringing up good people, qualified people, it's kind of working the other way around. It's kind of creating, like, it's not working right now for some reason. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Our democracy right now, it is not what it's supposed to be. I'll give you an example. In the 18th centuries, people, they wanted to have a democratic government after having kings and aristocrats deciding everything in Europe. They were looking at the 18th and 17th century to have a limited government that would be based on elections and a real democracy. And so when they created that to have a limited government for more freedom for the people. But they feared at that time that it may become a tyranny of the majority. And I think it's worse than that today. We don't have a tyranny of a majority with our electoral system. We have a tyranny of on a big enough minority. And when the federal government is controlling that minority, they can do what they want. For example, if, the federal government has a huge budget for communication, I call it the propaganda budget. They use that to manipulate the public opinion. And when they were able to manipulate the public opinion and have a strong enough minority, they will do what they want, and they won't follow the Constitution. The best example of that was during the COVID-19 history. The federal government decided to pay a lot of advertising, publicity, paying, YouTube influencer, and they were able to manipulate the public opinion using fear. And so when the public opinion was on board to have mandates, stay-at-home orders, they did that. So we don't have a real democracy right now.
And also
that's
coming after their opponents, coming after fresh voices. That's they spend taxpayer money to come after people like you. That's the craziest part of it that I don't get. And I feel like that's a betrayal of our democracy.
Yeah, so that's a big challenge with our democracy right now because of that. If a government is able to manipulate the public opinion and manufactured a strong minority, he will do what he wants, and the media won't do anything. You know, everything that they did during COVID was unconstitutional. We have a Charter of Rights, and the media didn't say anything because they were able to demonstrate that they have the people on their side. But that's for me, that's why we are not doing politics by polling. We try to inform and educate the population.
Exactly.
And now I don't know if you saw that recently, but with the bill C8.
I wanted to talk about it, Max. So basically it comes hand by hand. So at the same time, government is paying a lot of money, billions of dollars, to these so-called legacy medias, basically to propagate their own narratives. But at the same time, they don't want any other voice to be heard. There is not only Bill 9, there is a Bill C9, BC11, BC18. It's just getting out of hand. And I think if it wasn't for Trump, if they were not in the middle of this trade talk with Trump, they would have imposed these bills more severely, like what we are seeing right now in United Kingdom. Talk about that. That's extremely important. Okay, before he answers that, anything you want to add to his last topic, like about the COVID, what happened, like about so he's going to talk about a media, CBC, as we know it, the legacy, the only media we have. Basically, communist China kind of TV. Do you want to add anything, Payman?
Yeah, I wrote something down when you said that the democratic loop, like our democracy's been hijacked. I wrote down it's a race to the bottom. So instead of having the most qualified people step up, they're having the most underqualified people that they can control. I am 100% aligned. I'm perfectly aligned with what Max is saying. I view it differently because I have to dumb it down for the masses. I think the media, so when Max is talking about using, the money and the messaging, it's the media. Like, they're taking our taxpayer money and they're using it against us for 3 years and 11 months through the media. And then you go to the election period and it's like, oh, climate change, truth and reconciliation,
Ukraine, Palestine, Orange went bad, and they can go back again. Same circle every day, every morning. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Sepehr, how about you?
I completely agree with Max and Payman. The media has been hijacked by the government. So, and in BC and for the federal government, we have hate speech laws. So I don't even know how
Bill 9
how free we are to say anything, because I don't know if you've read through the BC hate speech laws or the federal hate speech laws, but we're
gonna talk
pretty
about
wild.
it. You're gonna Max is gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Before you go to the video, Sepehr, like, if you try to look, I always say it this way, like, try to do a flow chart of every regulation in the country. It's impossible. There's not enough paper or blackboard in the universe. But even something like BC WorkSafe BC, like the laws governing workplace safety, there's so many of them, and it doesn't go through the courts. It goes through the BC. It's a tribunal. Like, it goes through a tribunal, and they have super precedents over the courts, so the courts defer to them. The whole thing is a mess. Like, you try to look into it, you're like, we're not free at all.
Yeah, it's with most systems. It's also with the I don't know if you had any tenants or been a tenant, but that also for your property rights, it goes through the RTB, which is a residential tenancy branch, and the courts do defer to them as well. So your property rights are also there, and I mean, they're backlogged. So
that's right.
I don't know. Most people are tenants or have tenants, so most people can probably identify with that. And it's with most things. Those are just the things that we're seeing. And our court systems, they're not doing their job either. I mean, in Vancouver, they just let a rapist out, a child rapist, and then they put out a notice like, we let out this guy, he's a danger to the public. It's like, why isn't this a correctional facility? Because they call it a correctional facility now. They don't call it a prison. And isn't he supposed to be corrected? What are we doing here? What is this? Like, why is this person out if they're not corrected? If this person is still a danger to the public, why is this person out? And you can't defend yourself either, by the way. You just have to kind of let this person into your house. I guess I don't know. I have no idea what their thought process is. Some Indian guy killed a girl, and then he got 4 years. I think you get more than that if you do tax evasion. So I don't know. I don't know what the justice system is supposed to do either, because the justice system isn't doing their job. For your property rights, you have to either go to these tribunals like the RTB or any of these other tribunals. So I don't know. And same with the hate speech thing. The hate speech thing, you have to go through a tribunal too. It's not a court system. So what are our courts doing? And what are these tribunals doing? These tribunals are not court systems. I have no idea. I don't know if anyone has anything to add to that. But
Can I add something, Hassan?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I just read the case of the ostrich farm. So there's that ostrich farm situation going.
That's a good point. We didn't get to talk about it. We talked about like a more like broader kind of topics, but that's a good point you brought up, Pema.
It's okay if you didn't get to go through it with Max, but if you read the ostrich case, just the first like few paragraphs, the court specifically says, and they're not ashamed of saying this, they say on matters relating to science, we defer to the government authorities because they're the experts in this. I'm like, you're basically ceding your authority, your obligation. So this would be like if a referee deferred something in a soccer match, like the shoelace length, to be like, we're not the shoelace experts or something like that. You know, if you kick the ball touches your hand, you know, it's a handball. We're not hand experts, so we're going to defer. No, you're the court. We come to you with problems, and it's the responsibility of both lawyers to be able to dumb it down so the judge can understand it. But they're ceding their authority, and the phrase they use is that the judiciary has imploded into the executive branch, which is imploded into the legislative branch.
Yeah. So, like, where do you think it's going, Payman?
I mean, it's going to tyranny. It's going to authoritarianism. But if you want to put the words aside, I look at government as a business, right. And they're creating a market. You know, like if you and I were going to go mow a lawn, we don't typically have to convince people to mow lawns. We don't go surreptitiously into their living room and plant a lawn so that we can go. But with the government, they're creating like hate speech or victimhood. Like if you're trans or cis or ordinary people, they hate you, we'll protect you. If you're a woman, men hate you, we'll protect you. If you're an immigrant, white people hate you, we'll protect you.
They want to create a division. It's easier.
Yes,
to
but
control people.
If you look at it in business terms, they're creating a market.
Like
they have a monopoly on the market.
Damn right. Okay. Can we move on?
Sure.
Let's do this. I'm so excited about some part of it. We haven't reached to my favorite parts yet. There are some parts.
No, you're absolutely right about that. So what I was saying, we have a big challenge with our democracy right now because it's a tyranny of a strong enough minority, first. Second, we have a government in Ottawa that is to try to control what we are saying on social media. And if they don't like what we are saying, they are having now, and they will, after when these bills will be enforced, they will have the power to shut you down, to disconnect you from the internet, from the world, without any court appeal, without any reason. They don't need to give you any reason. That's all in these bills, Bill C9, C8. Same thing with the C9, that's the hate crimes. We don't need that bill, Now, if you have a bad emotion and, you are saying something that your neighbors don't like, he will be able to complain and go to the police. That's what is happening in UK right now. People, because of what they're writing on Facebook and on Twitter, they can have the visit of the police if they're not polite enough, if they're expressing some point of view. That's going against our freedom of speech, our Western values, but that's happening in UK right now. And you know, I've been told that there's about 15% every day in UK who have the visit of the police because of what they said on social media. For me, the role of the police must not be there. That, you know, we have a lot of crimes in Canada and in UK. They must put their resources to solve that.
And let's be open. We have rape, like crazy numbers of rapes in right now in the UK. So if you look at those numbers and their statistics, those numbers are crazy. While those legacy medias, those government-funded media, they won't talk about it because it is against their globalist agenda. But at the same time, they're talking about it. Somebody like me said something on social media that they didn't like. That's crazy. It doesn't make sense. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it and somehow try to be positive, justify it, but it's totally tyranny, man. Yeah. How was that?
Just threw that rape thing in there.
Dude, I wanted to, because somehow people like bypass all this like madness going on. Like, this is crazy. Like, if you look at the statistics and see how many underage, like Elon Musk, like 2 weeks ago, shared a post, like a 12-year-old girl in somewhere in England got raped by 12 cousins, like 12 like fat ass guys. They raped a 12-year-old girl, and media they won't even report on that. They won't even talk about it because it's just create like some sort of whatever phobia. It's that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah. What do you think, پیمان, Sipper, either of you guys, whoever?
I'll keep it short. I talked a lot last time. The liberalism it's gotten to a point where they can't talk about serious. They've cornered themselves. Like, they can't be racist, and if there's a rape, and if the rape might imply that there was a racial element, they can't talk about it, which is just, it's wrong. The other thing is, Sepehar mentioned that people are pissed off. He said heritage Canadians, old stock Canadians, they're really pissed off, and if we can't get a handle on this, I don't know what's going to happen. These hate speech laws. I always say that Canadians are asleep and they're not paying attention, but they still feel it, even though they're not involved like the three of us. And things are getting very bad.
Things gonna get very bad. Absolutely. I mean, UK is just one step ahead of us. We are not. I mean, I'm gonna say it again. I said it before. If it wasn't for Trump, they would have imposed crazier policies and bills to Canadians. Because I'm be honest with you, Canadians are asleep, very deeply asleep. But you know, things are changing right now. They're facing the reality slowly, but I can see it. People started talking about it, raising their issues. I started my own podcast. I'm talking about several issues that I always wanted to talk about. So, Sepehar, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've spoken about this multiple times, but I think we're actually there with the UK. We're not that far behind. We're almost there, and you see this with the two-tier justice system. They actually give preferential treatment to people who come over from foreign nations, and they behave like they behave over there. So they do get rapes. And sorry, I wasn't laughing at the rape. I was laughing at.
No, that's a sad reality.
The thing. Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, so I wasn't. But that caught me off guard as well. But yeah, I've spoken about this. They behave like they do over there, and we're all we say is, Canada is a melting pot, and bring whatever you want over here. And no, that's not true. We do have a culture. We do have customs. We do have laws. And if you don't want to follow those, get out. I mean, go behave like that over there. That's not our country, but I mean, get out. This is not lawlessness, and our court systems need to enforce these things. Our immigration system we can't bring these people over. They don't want to assimilate. They don't even want to learn the language. I mean, forget the customs or behaving like normal people. They don't even want to learn the language. I mean, I was in the car with a guy, and he said he was here for 10 years. He didn't know up and down. He didn't know the difference between up and, like, it's crazy. Like, we bring these people over in like clumps, and of course they're not going to assimilate. The guy goes to Surrey. He needs to speak a lick of English, and the same with like any sort of group. We have these
they create their own
clumps,
ecosystem.
these enclaves of people that we just have over here, and you go to Surrey and it's Indians, and you go to Richmond and it's Chinese, and you go to Brampton and it has more Indians than India. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know, like, and you know, they get preferential treatment. You know, God forbid the guy can't bring his wife and his 9 kids over from India because, you know, he was convicted of soliciting a minor, which did happen. I think the court system said that some guy can bring his wife over because what was the story? Do you know the story?
I think it said like we can't
or something.
We can't convict him because otherwise it might jeopardize his immigration status.
I mean, what is he offering Canada? I'm sorry, what is he offering Canada? He solicited a 15-year-old girl.
I'm gonna tell you what he's offering. Not to Canada, but to this government. He's creating some sort of madness, and then they start to impose more and more control, and we get to the digital ID eventually. I think that was the plan from first day, to create this madness. And I mean, look at like UK. Like, look at it. We are just like going through the same path that UK is going through, just a little bit slower. So right now in the UK, they say, oh, there is a lot of mass immigration problem we have, which they created. And now what's the solution? Let's screw every single person in the UK up. Let's put 100% control over them. Let's create this digital ID and just record whatever move they make. You only need an iPhone and digital ID. So they like record you 24/7. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? If this applies to the UK. If they bring a digital ID, and with a digital ID they can deny you access to an airplane, you can't leave the country. That is an island. That's a prison. It's like Australia. Like, they can do whatever they want, and you can't get away. In Canada, we felt this during COVID as well, because we couldn't go into the US, the land of the free. We're stuck here. What are you going to do? So whatever the government wants, they can do. You can't move your money out. You're at the mercy of the SWIFT banking system. You can't physically leave. You're a slave.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? During these trucker convoys, they showed they are capable of like all these evil actions. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your mortgage. If they don't get what they want, they can do anything it takes to get what they want from you. Yeah.
Not only do they not care, they actually actively hate you. If you're a heritage Canadian, they hate you. And I guarantee you, all these immigrants and people who have come over, the second anything happens to this country, they're going back to wherever they came from. They're not sticking around. And where are the heritage Canadians going to go when those people come over here, ruin the country, and then want to leave? You know, that's the sad reality. That's the thing that people need to. I know we're all, you know, they talk about tolerance and everything, but I mean, at first they talk about tolerance, and then it's, you know, acceptance, and then it's pride, right?
Can I ask you a question? All three of us were Iranian by, I don't know, ethnicity. Have you guys noticed that a lot of Iranians, they brag about how they screw the refugee system to get here?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I haven't. I haven't come across many. I mean, there is a large number of Iranians living in Canada, but still, when I compare, and I don't want to be like profiling any other communities, but I still think I've seen less, like in Iranian community.
In
comparison.
Canada, I know of
In
2.
comparison.
Internationally, I know of 4. Where, I mean, you either say you convert to Christianity, or you just lie. You say, if I go back, they'll kill me, and the government of Canada just doesn't look into it.
Yeah.
And they use AI. Actually, the IR, they're using AI to just, because it's so many, they don't have enough officers. They just need to let everybody in. So and another thing is, that's your birthright. If you're a Canadian, if you're here, they're giving away your birthright. You can't afford a house, you can't afford a family, you can't afford anything, and the only thing that you have, which is your citizenship, is they're giving it away. Your birthright, they're giving it away. How sad is that? How I mean, sometimes, like, you know, I mean, you have a right to be pissed. I'm pissed. They're giving your
took
your
away
kids, yeah,
They took away your retirement.
the only thing, the thing that you were born with. So I mean, it makes you upset sometimes, you know. It does make you upset.
No, that's so true, man. Like, I mean, the fact that like they're bringing so many refugees and immigrants that made life for Canadians, for like someone like you, like a lot of young people. Like I have, like my colleagues, they have like sons and daughters, kids. They graduated from university, age of 22. They still have no job. They're looking for a job. Like even like buying a house, they just got rid of that kind of dream. So they don't even think about it anymore to own a house. So Canadians are paying for it. Like Canadians are mostly like generation, like first generation, second generation people actually who built this country, who made this country great. They're ruining their the grandkids' dreams, and that's a reality.
Can I make another observation from based on what Sepehr said? Sepehr said they're doing this, they're bringing these people in, they're ruining. They're also like old stock heritage Canadians, and they're doing it to themselves. And there's a word for that. It's called treason. It's almost treason. Like they're I think Max mentioned it in your interview as well.
Yeah,
they're tyranny. Yeah, they're flooding their country for I don't know what. I think the leadership class is just they're being duped by these globalists, but they're still guilty of treason.
Yeah. Let's get to the interesting part. My favorite part.
But we have right now an authoritarian government in Ottawa that does not respect our constitutions, does not respect the division of powers in our constitution, interfere in provincial jurisdictions. That's why you have in Alberta the separatist movement right now that is gaining in popularity, and same thing in Quebec. This country is dysfunctional right now, and you have Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, who is not speaking about the real issues that we have in this country, like the imperial federalism. That's what we have. The federal government is telling provinces what to do or not to do, and is telling us what we can say or not to say on social media. Poilievre is not speaking about the money that is going to the equalization payments, that it's unfair, and Western Canada are paying for Eastern Canada. We must stop that. Real decentralization that we need, a radical decentralization in line with our constitution. Poilievre is not speaking about that. No. So for me, Poilievre or Carney, they're the same.
So Poilievre is a fake opposition. I'm as an Iranian Canadian, we are very familiar with fake opposition. They put a person that act like that they're siding with people who are not happy, but at the same time they follow the same agenda. Their goal is just to establish the same agenda. Is it true?
Absolutely. For example, at the last election, Polyev was saying, we will fix the budget. As you know, we have a huge deficit. At that time, it was $40 billion. Now the deficit is supposed to be around $80 billion. We cannot afford that. And the federal government is still giving money to Ukraine and other countries instead of helping Canadians and speaking for Canadians first. But Polyev during the campaign was saying, we need to fix the budget. But he was like Carney, because for him fixing the budget was to balance the budget in 4 years. For me, fixing the budget is to balance the budget in 1 year, and yes, cutting $40 billion right now to be able to lower taxes to Canadians the year after. But on the budget side, Polyev, that was the same proposal. On the climate change, that was the same. Both of them were against a carbon tax, but they are 100% in line with the UN target and fighting climate change like it is a big urgency that we have here in Canada. So on a lot of important issues, they're sharing the same point of view or the same policies. So that's why I'm saying it's a LibCon party, liberal conservative. And we at the People's Party, we are doing, as you know, politics differently, speaking about ideas with passion and conviction. And the more we speak, I believe, the more support we will have.
That's true. Controlled opposition, like a communist Soviet Union. Like Lenin has a very famous saying: if you wanna win or something, you have to control the opposition, lead the opposition. So Pierre Poilievre is a fake person, man. I mean, nothing about him is authentic. I mean, I don't buy. He's good at having survey focus groups, talking about numbers, but during the election, and Trump was on the other side of the border, you saw Trump because the alpha males strong, coming fight, and Pierre Poilievre was very passive. He kept talking about the same shit that he was talking during his eating apple video clip, talking about the same thing over and over. Dude, that was cool. But you've got to change. You've got to come up with things are changing. Circumstances around you are changing. You've got to have something new to say. He didn't have anything new to say. He was so confused. And all he did was to find what liberals are doing. And he acts like I'm doing it better. So liberals, we're going to create a lot of fake patriotic propaganda. I'm going to fake more. I'm gonna attack Trump. Poilievre, I'm gonna attack more. So it's it was uniparty by definition. You go ahead, پیمان, Sepehr.
Go ahead, Sepehr.
I think I've spoken about this a couple of times. I think I spoke about this last time too. But yeah, he's completely fake. I mean, last time we were talking about the election, he was LARPing as a cowboy or something. He had a cowboy hat on, pretending he's from. I know he's born in Alberta, but he's from Ontario. He's lived his whole life in Ontario. He's pretending he's an Albertan now or something. And what are his concrete policies? He was not able to list any concrete policies. What are the immigration numbers? What's your position on C-21? These are all important. What are your concrete policies? And you look at his whole MP cabinet, and it's Indians, and you go well, what are you conserving as the Conservative Party? What are you conserving? Is it for Heritage Canadians, or what are you conserving? Conservative Party leader.
Liberals. I'm conserving liberals.
Yeah, that's what they're conserving. It was theirs to lose. I mean, he was up 20 points, and then it was his to lose.
I think that was if based on the record of Justin Trudeau, the failure that Justin Trudeau created after Canada's last decade, like any average leader would have won that election. And the fact that he didn't, it shows how incompetent, I'll be honest with you, he is.
Yeah, he should have stepped down to save the party. If he wanted to save the Conservative Party, he should have stepped down.
Yeah. There is one point we have someone that I want to show her
Hey,
his comments.
Let me follow up from what Sepehr said.
Okay.
He's hardcore attacking Pierre Poilievre on like specific points. Every once in a while, I just look at his posts. Like yesterday, he talks about the interest rate, talks about the inflation, he talks about the deficit, and I'm like, the entire country's on fire. It's getting to the point where we have 2 people who are about to go to jail because they protested, Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. We have 4 people that were held in remand for, 3 years? Totally unconstitutionally. It was completely corrupt. We have hate speech legislation coming out. I don't know, like we've been declared de facto war against our southern neighbor. All this transgender nonsense, Truth and Reconciliation. And it's so tone deaf. Oh, the interest rates are this. So I just can't believe he's that stupid. It's almost like
I think he's doing it intentionally.
He's got to be doing it intentionally. How can he possibly be this? Unless somebody bounced his skull off the ground and he's got a serious concussion.
And you know what the funniest thing I've seen it from him recently about like Bill C9, that basically controlling every individual activity on internet, and he's justifying from, oh, Christians are under a lot of attack and hate speech. So So see, he's the uniparty. You see this uniparty. They want this bill to pass. This bill to go on, but all of them, they're coming from different narratives. Like liberals and NDP coming from Islamophobia, transgender phobia, all those, I don't know, whatever. And then he's coming from different angle. But at the end of the day, they want this bill to pass. They want to put more control over you. So that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. It's a uniparty. What did Max call it? Libcon?
Libcon, exactly. Let's go on. So true, Max. So, Max, when I was running, a lot of people, they knew our policies are much better than the conservatives. And I went door knocking. I went to have coffee with them. I spoke with them, and they all admitted that. But at the same time, their argument was, so our voting to you will split the vote to the conservatives. And sorry, I know you are great. We love Maxime Bernier, and they all loved you, but said, no, sorry, this time around we're gonna vote conservatives because we don't want to split the vote, and we want to just get rid of liberals. We're sick and tired of liberals. They have to go. But then we see what happened. Talk about that. What's your message to them, to those people?
But you have a point there, and actually, I must say that I experienced the same thing. I did rallies across the country during the last campaign, and I can tell you that I was in Alberta. I did a rally, and a guy after that did ask a question and said, "Mr. Bernier, I like you. I like your ideas. I voted for you in 2019. I voted for you in 2021. Actually, I'm a founding member of the People's Party of Canada. But at this election, I won't support you. I need to get rid of the Liberals, and I will vote for Poilievre." In my face after a rally. So what was and what is my answer to that is, we have the best example right now. We lost, the People's Party, about 700,000 votes. They went to the Conservative because of that argument about splitting the vote. So for them, they wanted to vote strategically. So now we have a proof that it is not working. You need to vote for what you believe to be able to have more chances to have what you want. And so these people didn't vote in line with their beliefs. They didn't vote in line with their ideas, so with their principles. And, they still have the Trudeau government. And I believe at the next election for us, all these people, or some of them, or a lot of them, I don't know, they will, I hope, come back and say, okay, enough is enough. Let's vote for what we believe. But by doing that, that's not helping, that's not helping what they believe in. We cannot progress if you do that. So and about splitting the vote, what I was telling them is, if you split an apple, you'll have two pieces of an apple. But for us, if you look at the platform of the Conservative Party and our platform, it is very different. So you cannot split that. What Polyev was saying, he was speaking, a little bit like us. But if you look at the policies, that was almost all the same with Carney. And I told them, I was a conservative. I was with Harper. And I told them, what is the legacy of Stephen Harper? Stephen Harper was coming from Western Canada. He was a conservative. And so what is his legacy? Nothing. Yet, Trudeau destroyed the legacy in 1 year. So they voted for Harper, and Harper was more generous towards Eastern Canada with the equalization payments. He increased that. Harper did big deficit. Harper did not solve the climate change crisis because he believed in that at that time and still today. So Harper did nothing for Western Canada. And Polyev, I told them during the campaign, Polyev will do the same. He's taking your vote for granted. His goal is to please Ontario and Quebec to be able to be in government. And after that, to be able to be reelected, he'll do the same. So I hope that all these people that you've met and that I've met during the campaign, at the next election, will realize, let's go back to our principle and will be more, our vote will be more influential.
Absolutely. Yeah. Splitting the vote. It's one of those questions, پیمان. One of those questions that it's like, my personal experience was just speaking with a lot of people. And they come to me when they saw the pin on my suit that says PPC. I'm a federal owner. When they saw this the pamphlets, they say, "Oh, we love Maxime. He's the bravest guy. He's a very amazing guy." But even like some of my closest friends, you won't believe that. Like somebody who but he said that was very difficult election. He said, "I cannot vote for you because I don't want to split the vote. And all I want is for liberals to go." And then he got this liberal candidate again. So what would you say, Payman? What would be your answer?
Ironically, if they say I don't want to split the vote, that's a glimmer of hope. That means that they understand what it means to split the vote. They understand that we have a multi-party system. The majority of people, I just found they either had their elbows up or they're, just that we're going to vote conservative because I like the logo and the color scheme. I view it differently. I think it was like a psychological operation what they did. I think the Conservative Party came in and they said, all right, what is our number one charge, the number one way that we can attack the People's Party? And they figured they settled on the vote split. Like it was almost emotional extortion. So splitting the vote would be like turning your back on your family, cheating on your wife, kind of thing. It was a very difficult thing to overcome. My concern moving forward is how is this going to play out in the next election? On the one hand, the Liberals have screwed everything up, and I don't know how that's going to impact it. I don't know if people are going to say we can't have yet another. I don't know if the Conservatives are going to be that brainwashed, Conservative Party supporters, to say, no, we were wrong. It wasn't the last election that was the most important one. It's this one. Now we really can't split the vote. And if that's a thing, we need to come up with a different argument.
They always in terms of policies, they admit, like whoever I spoke with, whoever I spent time to explain the policies and just put together Conservatives versus People's Party of Canada, eventually they admitted that yes, you guys have better platform, you guys have better policies, It's much more promising than what I've seen before from liberal, from other major parties. But at the same time, it always comes to this discussion, you know what, I don't want to split the vote. And then that's but I think once we get some momentum, and I think it's coming this time around, and then we'll see exponentially the number of votes gonna go up. That's how I feel about it. How about you, Sepehr? What do you want to add?
No, I fully agree with what you both said. Yeah, we just need to make sure that people know that the Conservative Party is conservative in name only. They're not actually conservative.
Yeah,
that's what we need to keep on telling people. We need to ask them, well, why do you want to vote for the Conservative Party? What's appealing to you about them? Which policy do you like? Because I got more anger from conservatives than from liberals, to be honest with you, when I was campaigning, and when I was getting signatures. Because they were saying, why are you trying to split the vote? What's like, we don't know, like, get out of here. But yeah, we got the liberals. And the question we need to ask is what is conservative about them?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing
exactly.
Nothing. They're so left. I mean, they're crazy left. I mean, when you look at how Pierre Poilievre was campaigning, I mean,
can I address something?
Yeah.
I got two good friends here, Gary and Wolf. They're in the comments. So Wolf, he opposes the crown. I'm reading his comments. Spoiler alert: the creation of the PPC was part of a psychological operation. I understand, Wolf, that you don't. The political party system is a problem. I fully acknowledge that. It's a problem in Canada. It's a problem in the US. Crown Corporation is a problem. The media is a problem. But when I look at the PPC, like compared to the other established parties, the people who run for the PPC, they're using the PPC as a vessel, as a tool to make positive change in their country. And if it doesn't work, they'll find another way, and they'll keep fighting until they find another way. So I wouldn't say that the PPC is corrupt like the Conservative Party.
People's Party of Canada is the party of people who are fed up. That's how I wanna explain that. Yeah. Or fed up with the whole system. Let's continue. Absolutely. That was a very good point. Max. I want to have a little bit different question. So right now we are in the middle of the trade talk with the US. Canadians industry is not doing good. In fact, if I want to show a graph that how horrible things are working for us, like if you look at these graphs, and there are many of them right now, and then all of a sudden Carney decides to support Ukrainian people or Palestinian people. They want to. It looks like Canadians, even they're not in like his top 5 priorities. Like now we need to side with winners. We need to come to some sort of consensus with President Trump. We need to take care of Canadian people here, and I see that like the quality of life. If I compare it, like the same quality of life they had like 10 years ago, I can see a drastic decline in that. So what's up with them? What's up with this agenda? All of a sudden, Palestine, Ukraine, and then how about Canadians?
Yeah, what about us? What about Canadians? As you said, $22 billion to Ukraine. Imagine what we can do with $22 billion. We can build hospital. We can help Canadians. No, and we don't have that money because we are in a deficit. So same thing with Israel and Palestine. For me, we need to focus on our country first. I'm not pro-Israel. I'm not pro-Palestine. I'm pro-Canada. I'm pro our people. And that war in Ukraine or Russia are not our enemies. So why doing that war in Ukraine? It's not our war. We don't have to participate in that. But for Poilievre and Carney, another big example that they share the same visions. But by doing that, what they're telling Canadians, they're telling, you're second-class citizens, because the most important for us is foreigners, people in Ukraine, and we will help them and give them a lot of money. And we are in a recession right now in Canada. People are losing their jobs and they're paying a lot of taxes. And so we are sending money and spending money in projects that, are not for us. We need to go back to help Canadians first. That's why, I said that I don't know how many times during the campaign. We are the only national party that can save this country. When I'm speaking about save this country, it's going down the drain. You know it. Our standard of living is going down. The inflation is at the top. It's not 2%. Canadians understand that the real inflation is about 6 or 8%. You just have to do your grocery and you know it. We have that inflation. We are in a recession. They are losing our jobs. We have an open borders. And so we have fake students that are coming to our country and taking the jobs of Canadian students during the summer. And we have a lot of illegals right now in our country that we must deport. We are not doing that. So there's so many problems and to solve here in Canada, and they're not interested. The most important for the Liberals is to try to control the opposition and us, and try to silence us on social media. And they don't want to have a real debate because they know that they will lose the argument. We are winning the argument.
Yes, that's so true. So Max, all of these situation going on, will you be surprised if people in Alberta, they want to have their own province? And because that's a crazy number. Every person in Alberta, they're paying 5,000 out of their pocket to the rest of Canada, mostly Quebec, east side. So, I mean, that's like a big probability. I mean, if they're being disappointed by federal government, they're stopping all their projects. They're stopping Canada's prosperities projects. Actually, I cannot blame them if they want to be an independent country.
No, you have a point there. And I was in Alberta 2 weeks ago and I delivered a speech about that. I said, what you need, it's a radical decentralization of the federal government, more autonomy for your province, but also more autonomy for every province. So that being said, because of the federal government, because of the conservative that are not speaking about the real issues that is important for Western Canadians and all Canadians, they're looking. And yes, if you look at the polls in Alberta right now, there's about 25% of the population who are saying, enough is enough. We want to have a referendum. And I believe that they will be able to have a referendum on the secession next year in early 2026. And I can tell you, the People's Party will be on their side, because if we need a constitutional crisis to have these two mainstream political parties to look at the real issues and have a real discussion, let's do it. So yes, we will support that. We believe in this country, but we know that we need to have real changes. And if nothing is happening, if Alberta is voting yes, they will have three options. The first one, yes, to be an independent country. The second one, maybe to go and be the 51st state. Or the third one, to have a new deal with Ottawa in line with our constitution.
Dude, that's extremely wise, and I really respect him. And that's another point, that he thinks about people. So it's a People's Party of Canada. So he's supporting Albertans if they want to make that decision. So basically, Albertans, they're in a very good position. They have three choices. I mean, if Daniel Smith doesn't sabotage their movement, but Alberta has a real chance to. I mean, there are three options on the table right now, as Max explained right now. They can be independent, and they get the best deal ever with the US, or join automatically as a 51st state of. And then once they do, I believe Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and eventually BC
no matter how left we are, they're going to join. And then, as Trump predicted, we're going to have the 51st state as a West Canada. And he doesn't, I don't think he wants to deal with Quebec and all this madness over on the east side. But now from like Alaska, and then like basically US going to look different if Carney going through the path that he's going right now. What do you think, Payman? I feel like I can see from your face you have something very important to say.
I'm trying to think how to collect my thoughts. Quebec is a very old province and a very old nation in certain ways. It's much older than the rest of Canada, and they've gone through so much hell that in the 70s and 80s they started to wake up. They called this the Quiet Revolution, and then they tried to separate, but it kind of got sabotaged. And now we see Alberta sort of waking up.
Sorry, I'm jumping in for just interjecting, Payman. Did you know that Max voted yes for separation of Quebec? Just continue.
I think I heard that recently somewhere, but I'm not surprised. Yeah,
he's gonna talk about it. Yeah,
a lot of Quebecois, they realize that for whatever reason, it doesn't just have to be Ottawa. With Quebec, it was the Catholic Church and the clergy. Mm-hmm. And now with Ottawa specifically, Alberta wants to separate. I don't know what's going to happen. With the rest of Canada, or Canada in general, you mentioned earlier Ukraine. Yeah. Canadians, like to be a Canadian means to enjoy paying taxes. And Canadians, they love paying taxes as long as they get something back, a little bit back. So they'll pay $100 in taxes if they can get $1 or $2 worth of medical service. But now we can't get that. So we're getting to this point where I think we're getting nothing back. We're giving all this money and we're getting nothing back. And as in the interview, you mentioned Ukraine.
That's right.
I think people are starting to wake up in Canada.
I mean, yeah. Sepehr.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with what Payman just said.
That's a good crowd. I mean, you're all in consensus with each other.
Yeah.
This is what I like, like no disagreements.
I mean, yeah, we are getting nothing back. We are getting nothing back from. We don't have a military anymore. We don't have. I mean, our military is being denigrated and disrespected by.
Is there any military?
Government.
Really? There's nothing.
No, but here's the thing: is we did have a very formidable military. Like, yeah. And I'm not like, and I'm being fully like, we had a solid military. We had, I mean, the longest sniper shot was a Canadian. That was a Canadian forces member. So yeah, we had a very solid, and I mean, the service members that are serving Canada are, they're heroes. But our federal government is disrespecting them, and so our military is dwindling. People don't want to re-enlist, so it's and. The federal government isn't even providing the basics to people anymore. So it's like, what are they providing to the people for the taxes that we pay them? Yeah, it's just more restrictions, more and more restrictions, more chokeholds on people, and we're not getting anything in return. So I mean, I fully agree with what Payman said.
Sepehr, did you see Secretary of War Pete Hegseth full remarks on this, like his their new department, they call it from defense, they turn it to war.
To war, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, dude, everything he said made sense. I mean, like he said, like if you are in a battle, if you're going to war, like people side by side, they're relying on you. So you've got to be strong, physically strong. We don't want to discriminate. We don't want to be like anti-feminist, but it's just a reality. This is war. Like if you are weak, if you are not capable of like doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're endangering everybody else. So and during Biden time, like not only they brought in a lot of people, they were not physically fit, they also kind of brought in a lot of people, they were mentally I don't want to use the term mentally, but like bringing transgender and then bringing that the person who needs some sort of medication in the name of DEI, in the name of whatever the woke terminology is for that. USA is coming to common sense. I think Canada is in the crossroad. If it wants to go to full madness, going to Europe, UK, France, or coming back to where it's belong. Like, we are not European. We don't want to be European. Go ahead, Tema.
With your permission.
Of course.
I really like Pete Hegseth, and people that don't like the Trump administration, or they want someone like Donald Rumsfeld, you know, somebody with gravitas, they don't like him. I get it, but what he says makes sense. He came out and he said, you know, no more dudes in women's dresses, no more pronouns, no more woke nonsense. And they changed the name of it from Department of Defense to Department of War. It used to be called the Department of War before World War II.
Yeah.
So they're trying to bring sanity back, and I support that. Regarding, you know, you asked, is Canada going to go down the road of sanity with the US or the European way? It's kind of interesting because Mark Carney was brought in by the European globalists, by the City of London.
It was installed.
I think it's a coup d'etat. I call it a coup d'etat. But anyway, the people that are the globalists that are trying to run the world, they brought him in, and he can't manage the system. I think they told him, just hold the line, 4 years, we'll get Trump out, we'll get another Democrat president in, and everything's going to be fine. But they can't seem to turn off the system where the government is just growing, even though he's a central banker, even though he's part of the people that run the world and they make all the decisions. Even he can't reduce the size of government. So now we have budget deficits. He's destroying the country. And I think Mark Carney's like, what the hell? I should have never taken this job.
Yeah.
And he always looks confused. Like he always has this like dumb smile on his face. He always looks confused. It's like a big joke to him. Like I just can't like. I know it's. But
I can't take him seriously. Like when he speaks,
he always has this weird smirk on his face. Like,
yeah.
What do you? And I'm not trying to like throw shade for. I mean, I don't know if it's like a thing he can't control, but like, he is a politician. So, I mean, those are things that you should control.
Yeah, he's a banker, I guess. He's never really cut out for being a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Getting more and more interesting.
What I want them to be able to have these options, and I will promote the Canadian options if the federal government is there saying, okay, now we don't want to break this country. We need to sit at the same table and solve the problems, because if they're doing that with Alberta and respecting the Constitution and having a new deal in line with the Constitution, that will be good for Quebec. That will be good for Ontario. That will be good for every province.
Yeah,
they will give more autonomy to provincial government. But yes, let's do that debate. And that's why, you know, for me, for example, I voted personally for the yes in 1995, not because I was a separatist, because I wanted the government to respect our Constitution and provincial autonomy. And after that, after all the promises, today, 30 years later, it is worse. The federal government is more interfering in provincial jurisdictions than ever. And Quebec is losing their autonomy, like Alberta, like other provinces. So let's have that real debate, and we'll be there to fight for our Constitution, and at the end to fight to keep this country.
Yeah, I'm just showing economic growth of USA versus Canada. As I said, I don't blame them. We are not doing really good, and Albertans, they are losing in this kind of all these radical ideology policies that the federal government is using. So Max, so we talked about one thing I want to talk about right now is about President Trump. And then I remember when he posted a picture that Canada becoming the 51st state, all these Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre started laughing. Oh, that's funny. He just made a joke. So hey, something that you didn't expect from a political leader. You want a political leader to take every national matters seriously, and then it come to the point that it gets more and more serious. Now it's becoming to reality when you look at all these numbers and figures. Like let's say if Alberta wants to have its own country, do you think like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, they definitely will join in, and as probably Trump mentioned that West Canada and East Canada, there will be two separate new states for the US, and I want to talk about them. Like I remember when I start talking about it on my LinkedIn, like people attacked me left and right, that what's going on with you, buy Canadian, all these fake patriotic games that this media are just propagating. Let's talk about that. That's so extremely important, Max.
Oh, it is important, and you're right about that. What President Trump during the last election, what he did, actually, was working for Americans when he said, "I want tariff, I want the manufacturing sector to come back to the U.S." But we didn't do the same here in Canada. Carney or Poliev, they wanted and they did it. They did impose tariff on us, and we are paying we are paying the goods that are coming from the US more expensive because of these tariffs. So they were not working on the interests of our country. That being said, right now what President Trump is doing with the war in Ukraine, I must say that I'm a little bit disappointed, because he said during the campaign that he can solve that in one day, and he was right. He just have to stop giving money to Ukraine, and that will stop. But we'll see what will happen there. But I don't like the fact that he's a pro-war, and he can push to have a real peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. But that being said, the good thing that he did when he started as a president is all the woke ideology. And, a man is a man, and no more, biological men won't be able to compete against biological women in sports. So that's good. All the woke nonsense, all the climate change hysteria, is not buying that, and that's great. Some part of his speech that he delivered at the UN was good, about all these countries that are spending money that they don't have, and they have huge deficit and huge debt, like the US actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
They must challenge that. They must be fiscally responsible. But I really enjoy what Trump did in the beginning of his mandate against during that cultural war. And I really enjoy also what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing at the head of the
Absolutely.
CDC, real science. And so I hope that Canada will follow that, but I doubt. But our position is to fight for, ending the woke ideology in Canada, and also being sure that what happened to us during COVID-19 won't happen again. So we have a lot of work to do in our country, and to be more competitive.
So, Max, we have almost 1,000 people that are watching us live on X, and that's the biggest number I've ever hit so far. And thanks to you. I want to ask, I don't know how much time you have. I want to ask you a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What's very important? So, what can you define populism? Like populist, what does it mean to you? Can you explain that? Because it can, like, somebody, if you tell populist, it can be an insult, or it can be something positive. What does it mean that PPC is a populist party?
Yeah, we are a populist party who believe in Canadians and in our country. But when you speak about populist political parties, there's two kinds of populist political parties. Populists from the left, you have all that in Europe, and you have populists from the right. And yes, we are from the right because we want a smaller government, more freedom. And when I'm saying that the People's Party, we are for, as you know, we have four principles: individual freedom and personal responsibility. So for us, the People's Party, it's all about the people. We believe in people, and that's why we are a populist political party. But also, we are trying also to be sure that we are following what the people wants, but at the same time, we want to be sure that it's in line with the principles of the Western civilization values. That's why individual freedom, personal responsibility is very important for us. And we want a smaller government that will give to people more responsibility and more freedom, because when you are free, you must be responsible of your actions.
Absolutely.
So now we have a big fat government in Ottawa, a nanny state that is telling you, you can do that, you cannot do that. I don't want to manage your life. And that's why, I believe that the majority of Canadians are ready for that revolution. But they don't know, a lot of them don't know that we exist, because as you know, the mainstream media is ignoring us like we don't exist. And the social media, they try to shadow ban us. So populism, it's working for the people, with ideas that are based on our constitution and our Western civilization values.
Okay, and I have one more question for you. A lot of before the last question, any comment? I mean, this is not the last question. I think I asked him a couple more questions. You want to go on, or you have any comments?
No, Sepehr, you go ahead, and I got some comments.
پیمان, you can go. I mean, I'm
You're fully on board, Sepehr.
No, I am on board. But
awesome,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I like your chart with the economic growth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, that's a sad. This is one of the saddest graph I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's very
that's
sad.
our life. That's my retirement.
So yeah, the erectile dysfunction of the economy.
Yeah, no, it's very unfortunate.
I wanted to add a few things. The last 5 years, and especially the last election, I think it's really forced Canadians to ask themselves, what does it mean to be Canadian, and I
ask him this question, پیمان. I asked him specifically this question. If you want to
wait, I'll let you go and then I'll answer mine. Go ahead.
So let him tell you, and then you go ahead. That's the last question I actually asked. Look, if you can make a note, and then I actually want you to talk about it. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me continue then. People in Canada, they're waking up. People who used to be on center, who used to be liberals. So what's the PPC plan to build this united movement? What's the plan to bring them under one banner, PPC banner? And what do you think? What's your message to candidates, like PPC candidates?
Yeah, first, I must say that I want to thank them, thank you and all the candidates who were running for us at the last election. That was a difficult election for us, I must admit that, because for me, that wasn't an election. That was a kind of a referendum on who will be the best to deal with President Trump, Carney or Poilievre. It was all about that commercial war and tariffs. And we wanted to have a real discussion about the real issues. And one of the most important issues for Canadians is immigration. Like I said, 65% of Canadians are ready to have a pause on immigration. But we didn't have that national discussion on immigration. That did not help us as a political party. And also, we were not able to have a full slate of candidates. And in some ridings, people were not able to vote for us. We need to challenge that. We need to be sure that we'll be ready at the next election. So my message for everybody who love this country, we are fighting for you. And yes, if you look at our platform, and I want you to support the People's Party, but intelligently, go on our website, read our policies. We are the only national political party that is having our platform on our website. We have 22 policies. You can read it. It's only 2 pages for each policy. That's what we believe in. We don't change our policies because of the electoral win. That's what we believe. And we have a strong vision for this country, putting at the center of our vision Canadians. And so that's why at every election, we are speaking about the same issues. And until, more people will understand. But I believe that we can unite everybody, because that's what we want to do. We don't want to impose our values. We want to have a smaller government that will respect the differences between Quebec and Alberta. Because if you try to have one state in Canada, one big government that will tell everybody to do, the culture in Quebec is very different than the culture in Alberta. And it is not working right now because of that government that is interfering and telling Quebec and Alberta and other provinces what to do. So having that small government that will unite people will be happy to be Canadians. But for that, we need for them to be able to achieve their dreams. And they're not able right now with the taxes and the inflation and the deficit. We need to be serious about that. And that's the People's Party. So I know that we are in a very difficult time right now with the economy, the inflation, the cultural war. But we need to fight that war together. We need to be out there. And I'm telling people, if you believe in strong ideas, be out there, stand up and speak for what you believe.
Definitely.
What is the goal? To have the best ideas. If you keep them for yourself, by doing that, you're gonna help yourself and you're gonna help the country. So I hope that more people will be able to have the courage of their conviction and stand up and speak out for what they believe. And the People's Party, with all our candidates across the country, we are doing that.
Absolutely. There is one more question came up. It's a very interesting one, Max. So
yours, پیمان.
define, what does it mean to be a Canadian? Like a lot of people like I speak to, they're like the second generation, third generation, they're right now confused about what does it mean to be a Canadian. They don't know who the neighbors are. So they don't know what cultures they have to.
Yeah, First, you must share the Western civilization values.
Mhm.
You must understand that everybody must be equal under the law. Not because you're black that you must have a privilege, or because you're coming from China that you must have another privilege. Everybody must be equal under the law.
No DI.
No DI, and this country is not a racist country. We want to look at Canadians without looking at the color of their skin. We want to look at them as Canadians and values. So that's first, believe in Western civilization values. Second, men and women are equal under the law. And so that's important. We have a Charter of Rights, but also if you're Canadians, I want you to be part of our culture, to be part of our society. If you're coming from another country, that's why we want to abolish the Multiculturalism Act, because we don't want the state, we don't want the federal government to promote your culture. We want the federal government to promote Canadian identity,
Western
to promote our history, to promote our culture. So being Canadians is living in a country when you have two big national culture, Francophone in Quebec and Anglophone outside Quebec. And the Francophone and Anglophone with the First Nation build this country. So I won't tell, because sometimes I'm hearing, we are all immigrants. No, we are not all immigrants. I'm a settler. I have roots in this country for more than 200 years. So people must understand that. So being a Canadian is being a people that is living in Canada, believing in our values, believing in Western civilization values,
And they built this country.
knowing our
They
history.
made it great. That's why it's very attractive to a lot of people, that they want to come to Canada. And it's such an amazing country.
Yeah, that's why they want to come. But if they're coming to our country, I don't want them to bring their internal conflicts in their country of origin, like it's happening in our street. When you decide to migrate to another country, to immigrate to another country, when you decide to do that, it's a tough decision for you. You're coming here, you know that you're leaving behind, your family, some part of your culture, and you're ready to adopt a new culture and to be part of a new society. That's what we want. But right now, the new immigrants are coming to keep their culture and having all these programs and money coming from the federal government. The old immigrants came here, the federal government did not give them anything, did not give them, dental care, did not give them, hotel rooms. No, they didn't.
Yeah, including
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. So this country has been built with these people, but they were ready to work hard to have a better life here in Canada. And that's why, that's
what do you feel, Max, when you see all these mass protests, Palestinian, all these crazy shows? What first thing comes to your mind?
All right, go back to your country. If you're fighting for that country, just go back there. Same thing for people coming from India. They want to have celebration and all that. It's okay privately, but when you're doing that, if you want to be in India, just go back to India.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Max, I know that's done. It's finished. So, Payman, go ahead. Continue.
What I was trying to say is the last 5 years, we've been trying to identify what it means to be Canadian beyond just we're not Americans. And the last election, we kind of had to confront this, and everyone's been on this soul search. As best as I can understand it, 1763, Canada was formed through Quebec, so French Canadians, and they were crushed by the Catholic clergy. 1776, you have all the dictators from America. They come up north, and the English use them to try to make it docile people. So whether Quebec or the Anglophones, to be Canadian, it's almost like you have a deference to authority. So we have this tendency to not solve our own problems ourselves. We look to authority to solve it for us.
The big cousin, the big brother.
It is. It's like a parent. It's like we're in a state of arrested development, and this ties into the political systems. And I think this needs to change.
And always complaining, and we feel like we are the elite. We are the educated. We are the nicest, but at the same time,
that's because we're assholes. But like, if you look at the U.S., like they have balls. They solve their own problems. They get in the face of their school board and they say, "This is the problem. If you cut off my mic, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to punch you in the face." And because they understand solution doesn't come through government. But here in Canada, we were loyal to the king. We are loyal to our political parties. The French Canadians were loyal to the clergy. Answers will come down from above. And I think it's time for us to, take off the training wheels and start figuring this stuff out on our own.
Yeah, that's crazy. And he talked about all these well-funded Palestinian demonstration going on. I mean,
I can't tell, Hassan, are you pro-Palestinian or not?
No, I'm not. I mean, Palestine is a fake country. I have no sympathy. I mean, I have sympathy with the people. I hope they get a better life. I hope this vicious circle of funding all those like Hamas terrorists, and then so I want this root cause to be eliminated. The root cause are those organizations that are supporting directly or indirectly Hamas. Like right now, Mark Carney, in the middle of this whole shit show, he sided with Hamas by recognizing. So basically, it shows them the message: if you kill people, if you create something like October 7th, that's how you're going to be rewarded. So I feel for Palestinian people living there. I feel for Israeli people. Like people over in Middle East, they deserve like peace, prosperity. Everybody is sick and tired. Everybody's fed up of all these horrible news. But I think the main cause of this problem in Palestine are those who are going onto the street, whoever is funding them. Like somebody is paying for that bus to the bottle of water. Like there is some organization behind all these well-coordinated demonstration.
and mostly and it's been proven that Soros is behind a lot of them.
I was going to say George Soros.
George Soros is behind them. So those people are like all these like Middle Eastern blood, they're on their hand. Those are the ones that wouldn't let. So they want the chaos. They want to establish the chaos. Like what France, United Kingdom, and Canada did was so irresponsible. They want to create another terrorist, like something like Taliban, right in the Middle East, another one. So they don't want things to settle down. They want like this tension goes on and on and on. So I feel like something must be done. I like Trump's proposal to turn Gaza into somewhere very nice and chill. Like, did you see that AI video? That was cool. That's what I want to see in Gaza, instead of all these wars and craziness.
Why don't we get Sephar's perspective on what Max said?
Oh, for the so he mentioned regarding the I'm a settler, and I asked somebody actually a few weeks ago what it means to be Canadian, and he said it was the builder and the pioneer spirit, and I think that's beautiful. I think a lot of people come here and they're extractive. They want to extract from the nation. They're not builders. They don't want to build. They don't understand that this is a nation of settlers and of pioneers who built this nation. So I do agree that the heritage Canadians are settlers, and that is the Canadian spirit. But the immigrants that we're bringing in, a lot of them are extractive. They want to extract from the nation. How much can I extract? What can I get? What can the nation give me? So
yeah, you have to give something back, man. You have to give something back.
You need to build. You need to build.
Exactly.
You need to be a pioneer. That's the land of pioneers. That's how the country was built, and we've kind of lost that. But
that's so true. Yeah. So, anything else to add? Sepehr,
do you guys think there's going to be an election coming up?
BC election or federal? There's going to be a BC election, maybe.
Federal.
I think something is coming up. Like nothing. I mean,
there's a lot of funny business going on, so I don't know. I know there's a lot of funny business going on.
I think the probability of it's very tough, but you know what? I think eventually Canada will become 51st state. I'm not happy. I'm not unhappy. I'm just making my interpretation that what's going on in Canada is not sustainable. And the fact that we have the largest border with the US, we are not European. I mean, these are the facts. You cannot just say, oh, sorry, we are more European mentally than being American. Dude, you're sharing the largest border with the US. You're depending on the US. What you're talking about? Like, I mean, that's and if you escape from the reality will kick in eventually and teach you a lesson. And that's what's going to happen to Canadians eventually. You can do whatever you want, but numbers won't lie, and facts are facts. You are not European, and you cannot be a communist China. USA wouldn't let a communist China share the largest border with the US. So, yeah. Talk about it, پیمان. Go ahead. Say something crazy.
Sepehr, you wanted to say something?
Well, I think it was more of because I think at the time when Trump mentioned that he was in talks with Greenland, so I think that was more of a military and strategic thing that he was talking about. And I think right now, because of the conflicts all over the place, again, he's talking about the 51st state thing because of military positioning. I don't think that's necessarily has anything to do with him actually wanting. I don't think the U.S. is in a position to take on Canada because they have a big deficit of their own. So I don't think they're in a position to take Canada on, but or annex Canada or however they want to go about doing that. I think that's more of a military posturing and positioning kind of thing, just based on what he was talking about at the time, and the fact that the U.S. just sent aircraft carriers over to the Middle East and I think over to Asia Pacific. I don't want to misspeak about where they sent their aircraft carriers, but I think it's another military posturing thing.
I think one thing no one talks about, if you take all or some of Canada and you absorb it into the US, you have to treat that new state with respect. But if it's just Canada, America can just keep exploiting it. Like you can't, past a certain point, you can't exploit your own states. You can't mistreat your own states. So I don't think this is in America's best interest to take any part of Canada in, first of all. Secondly, outside of Alberta and maybe Saskatchewan, it's very left of center. It's not even it's socialist. And I think the red states are going to be like, well, we don't want any more Washingtons or New Yorks. So I don't think that's going to happen at 51st state.
I think money talks, پیمان. Money eventually is going to talk. Like as President Trump mentioned, economic force. He's not going to attack military. He's not going to do any harm, but he's going to make us poorer and poorer. Yeah. And that's what he can do. He's able to do that. He has the power to do that. Like 80% of economy is dependent on the US, and their economy is like 2%, 3% is depending on us.
Esson, you forget though, the liberals have their elbows up, so we have that.
Yeah, that's so true.
We have that going for us.
That's so true. I mean, I want to be realistic. I don't want to say what I want to see, but I shared something on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is like extremely lefty social media, and I said that's a probability that we eventually become. And you know what, man? Like I woke up in the morning and I saw like hundreds of comments, and everybody, what are you talking about? Buy Canadian, we are Canadian. Oh, we had a lot of. I had a lot of supports too, but yeah. And then a lot of people said LinkedIn is not the place for you to talk about this stuff. You have to go to X to talk about it. That was funny.
I was at a family dinner, and I tell my parents, I'm like, whatever you do, just don't tell people about my politics. Iranians, they don't care, and they're trash talking Trump. There's like 18 people around the dinner table, and then my dad goes, my son is a Trump supporter. And you heard that like DJ disc jockey thing?
A lot of Iranians are Trump supporter.
No, not the Iranians that my parents hang around with. They're all like Biden, elbows up in the womb.
I haven't seen a lot of Iranians supporting Biden. My crowd, they're all Trump support. Oh, I have those people too. Yeah, they're.
What about you, Sepehr? Do you have any Iranian friends?
Not too many, but I mean, we have family friends, so
are they?
They seem to be very liberal-ish.
That's what I mean. Like your family friends.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty liberal, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my crowd, they love Trump. My dad, he's a Republican. I mean, he graduated from University of California, and his degree was signed by President Reagan, and he's proud of it. So he's a very Republican. And he was always supporting Republicans. He never supported any Democrat president. And Trump, is his favorite. He's like, world needs Trump. I agree with him. So we're gonna wrap it up. پیمان, do you want anything to add? Anything to say?
No, thank you very much for having me on. Sepehr, it's always nice to catch up with you guys.
It's always nice to hang out with you guys.
Until the next time.
Yeah, it's great speaking with you. Thank you for having me on. It was great chatting.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna do it more often.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my podcast.
چنده هر کسی که تو خالی باشد بالاخره معلوم میشه.